How can I be an amazing dad even when the stuff is hitting the fan? Right? Even when things are going badly or really badly, or I'm not sure how they're going, or our marriage is in limbo. I don't know which way is up, even really for myself right now, but I still want to be an amazing dad for my kids, no matter how this time may shake out for our marriage. So, how do I be the best dad ever, even during marriage troubles? That's our topic today here on the C Note Show with myself and Cynthia Cruz. Cynthia and I are both retired special education teachers. We both left the school system, retired from the school system in 2016, where we did emotional interventions, behavioral interventions. We worked with 30 to 40 different families, children and families every single year, transitioning them from elementary school and then to high school. We were middle school special education teachers. And so we've been doing this for a very long time. And in 2016, we retired from the school system and began our own counseling practice. And we've been working specifically with men and fathers all along the way. And I'm a man. That's why I began this as well. Cynthia loves working with the family dynamic as well, family systems theory, somatic experiencing. So we have a lot of academic training and also experience. And many men have been asking us about being a dad and families and things like this. So, how do we be the best dad ever? Last time on our call last week, we spoke about self-sabotage. If you want to learn about that, go back and watch our last video there. And today's be the best dad ever, even during marriage troubles. So I want to bounce over to the men that are here right now, the men that are here live. What has it meant for you? What has it been like for you to be the best dad ever, even in times of trouble for your own self? You're unsure about your marriage. Maybe you're in limbo. Either you're getting back together or you're not. So what has it meant to you to be the best dad ever? Come on in. Yeah, please.
I didn't know this was going to be the topic today, but it's very apropos because it was something I was thinking about this very morning. I've been, divorced now 3, 4 months, and my whole thing is like try and like keep the divorce and any sort of issues that I have with my ex-wife, sort of like shield the children from them. This morning, my daughter had like a solo singing part. She's 8. She had a solo singing part at church. And I was there with my mom was right next to me, and then my ex-wife was next to my mom. And it was just a really great sort of like, I don't know, show of unity to show that, you know, both your parents still love you, we still get along. I know this is not the case for everyone, and I'm grateful that it is for me, though, because it's really important for me to kind of show that to my daughter. And the other sort of like question that came up as I was thinking about it is like, or not question, but sort of like thought was like, it really sucks to not be able to give your daughter, this girl, this angel, what you can't, which is like a whole sort of like family with her real mom and her real dad. That's a hard pill to swallow, and it was rather emotional for me this morning at that very moment. So
Yeah, absolutely. Of course. So what do you do with that? What do you do with that as a skilled man in this work?
I'm not sure yet, Jeff. I mean, it's still sort of like doing what I'm doing, but that one sort of just dawned on me today. Like I can't give her that. All I can give her is just as much love and support as I possibly can. And she felt it. I was sitting as close as I possibly could in the church and just kind of like, giving her little waves. And she came and gave me a big hug afterwards. And she said, "I think I did a really good job." And I said, "Yes, you did." So it was kind of a special moment. And I don't
Yeah,
know.
that's
This
well
was hard.
put. That's Cynthia, let me ask, what are you seeing and what might dads not know about their little girls and what's important to them as far as dad showing up in these kind of moments? What would you say?
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. And I really appreciate you sharing just the real grief of not being able to provide her this little being, uh, the family container, the system that you would most want for her. I think there's something very always intuitive, sensitive about little people in general, but especially girls with their dads. And sometimes the family container is a priority over everything else. I've witnessed a lot of daughters just kind of soaking in what's not working and then kind of trying to digest that themselves, and then even repeating habits later in relationships that don't serve. Whereas she gets to experience you now, regardless of anything else, as this presence, this warmth of masculine, this heart that I know you've always been. But I feel like in this moment, even though you have the grief of that, she gets to have the king of you in her life. And I feel like girls who get to have that then go into the world feeling a lot more of that. They know how to look for kingly energy. They know how to look for the sacred masculine. They know what that heart feels like. And everything about that feels positive. So I feel a lot of gratitude that she gets to have you. And I really appreciate you sharing that this is a spectrum of experience for you, but she's getting the gold, and that means the world.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Come on in. Thanks for raising your hand.
Okay, so I kind of thought that was interesting the way it was describing things because I'm kind of going through a similar thing with my little daughter. She just turned 3, so I don't know how old yours is, but so having a 3-year-old who just went through a birthday, we actually all came together really nicely on her birthday, on her actual birthday, and had a pizza party at this place called Pizza Ranch. It's like an arcade type place, but a little bit better than Chuck E. Cheese's. No creepy animals running around. It's just people and games and food. And if you see the creepy animal, you better run fast.
Yeah.
And never go eat there again. Anyway, so I guess where I'm going with that is we had a really, really, really good time just being, just showing up for her and also my other kids too. Even though it's her day, we wanted to make sure that the other kids were feeling appreciated, feel supported, feel that, hey, you know what? We're all here to have fun. That's the number one goal here. Even though it's her birthday. The other thing that I kind of spoke of, or it speaks to me a lot, especially now that my work with Jeff, is I try to give, not try, I'm finding myself giving my children the love from within that I always know was there. That I didn't really have to search for it. I don't have to try for it. It's just there. And I find myself also within argumentative moments or issues or things where the kids are causing a scene. I almost treat it like a math problem that I can't figure out, where I break it down and help them break it down and help them sit them down with it, break it down, and then all of a sudden they forgot all why they were crying or mad in the first place, and then all they want is a cookie and some milk.
Can you think of an
And
example of when you sat down with him in this way?
well, my middle child, he really, really, really always wants to do a bunch of stuff that his bigger brother does. Now, his older brother's 9, he's 6. So there's some things in life that he as a 6-year-old still can't do, like some sort of things that like those trampoline parks or whatever, right? And he got so mad that he wasn't able to go with his brother, and he freaked the heck out. Just kept, and he was calling everybody bad and bad names and things, and okay. And most other people ignored it, but I sat down with him to dive into why he was feeling that way. And instead of just ignoring it and moving on or telling him to be quiet, it's okay, whatever all that, I sat with him and asked him, why are you mad? What are you frustrated about? What are you not able to get because you're mad because you're not able to get something? He goes, well, I'm not able to go to this park, this adventure thing. I said, well, there's another one that you can go to that your brother doesn't like that you absolutely love. So how about the next time he goes to that one, I take you to the other one? And his eyes just lit up like, I mean, we can do both. I got to be with my brother. I always got to do everything he does. Well, you are doing something he's doing, just not in the same area or right in his presence. And when he figured that out, he was super excited that he could still go explore something that was on his level that still met that need.
Yeah. So meeting him where he's at, caring about him, caring about his experience, not just telling him to, get over it or to be happy with what's going on, to get on his level and to know what he cares about. And such great stuff.
Like Legos, for example. My kids all love Legos, probably because I do and still do. But there a lot of their stuff, gets broken or falls over or whatever, or I might just look at it, or they might look at it, all of a sudden it's broken without even touching it. And they start to freak out and get a little bit butthurt about it. And I get that. But then I look at them and say, you know what? The cool thing about Legos is you can build it exactly the same way you did before, or you can take it and build it better because it just broke.
Yeah. Like,
Mm.
what can we do with the broken pieces, right? How do
Yeah.
we, yeah.
It's
Yeah.
all weird how this is all just coming to light. It's very strange,
Great stuff.
but
I
I'm
love it.
okay with it.
Yeah. Thanks. You're good to see you, man. I appreciate it. Come on in. Thanks. That was great.
Man, what an appropriate topic. I mean, it's just been so top of mind. You know that like the dad, dad being the best dad has been such a priority for me throughout this whole process. And yeah, so it's just been real struggle. I feel like I'm failing on multiple levels there with especially with her with my son. Things we're able to kind of I don't know. It's just right now he's 7 and when we're just buds and we hang out and he's not obviously not crazy about the whole split, but it's with our daughter. It's really becoming contentious, and I feel like I'm really struggling there with her.
Yeah, that's a good point. Can I ask what's an example of her preteen feminine storm that's happened recently?
She'll come home and she's got a spunky sprightly personality, so she'll come in like a freight train of it, and then she'll just she'll come in and she'll just kind of just start tossing things around and I'll be like, hey, I did the laundry, can you fold your laundry? And it'll just be this whole thing. I'll just blow up about it, and then her brother will maybe grab her pencil or something and she'll like go and scream at him and grab the pencil and throw a big that's my pencil. And I'm like, whoa, hey, like chill. Like it's not that, I don't know. It's stuff like that. These things that were seemingly not that big of a deal become this huge thing now. And I don't know if that's just her adjusting from going home to home. So I'm sure there's an emotionally charged transition there going on underneath the surface. It just everything feels really heightened with her right now, and that level of emotional kind of outburst has been shocking to me, and I don't know how I'm reacting to it. I don't know. I don't think I'm doing a great job. I feel like I could do better.
Sure. Well, thanks for bringing it up. Let's talk about it for a minute. Cynthia, what are you seeing right off? And especially for a girl that age? I wasn't a 12-year-old girl at any point, so I'm going to ask the woman. So I went at that age, and then of what's going on at home, what may be going on at school, and what might you ask from that point? What are you seeing?
You're just kind of taking this in like, oh, this is brand new. Why is this happening? Do you have a feeling that for some reason suddenly these small tasks are overwhelming, or it's like she has a lot of different competing feelings going on?
I mean, maybe, it's just like you were saying earlier, I want to be this like kingly presence for her to guide her through not only this particular part time in our life when it still seems like we're all still going through the transition of it, but at the same time, being a dad, I want to make sure that they have those life skills, like doing your laundry is a thing. You got to know how to do that, and cleaning up after yourself and doing the dishes, and there's certain chores, and there's all these studies coming out now that like they've studied like kids who do chores were happier, more successful adults and stuff like that. So I've been slacking on it honestly since the split. I've been kind of doing a lot of it just so that they can come home and have like a pretty chill, comfortable place to be when they're here. But now I'm like, okay, we need to get back to like a routine where we're doing chores and we're doing this and we're doing that, and we're all part of this household and establishing that. And I don't know if I'm doing that right. I don't know. Am I being too strict? Am I putting too many boundaries? I just don't know. How do you navigate that? And she just doesn't seem to like want to do anything and doesn't really doesn't really want to be around me that much. And it just feels like, oh my gosh, my sweet baby girl is like just feels like she's anti me right now. And I don't know if that's her mom and her former mother-in-law, planting things secretly. I don't know. Maybe, I don't, I'm not sure. The whole thing just feels very shocking. I'm not sure how to navigate it.
Right. Yeah.
Something I loved learning because it helped me then soothe like my inner prepubescent girl when I think back in time. Her brain actually is doing exactly what it's supposed to be doing right now. You're supposed to be becoming quickly the person who knows the least because evolutionarily she's supposed to be kind of breaking away from the family, and let's say she's attracted to other kids, maybe she has romantic feelings. This is like exactly what's supposed to be happening, and maybe it's more amplified because of the dynamics with her mom. Your question of am I being too strict, but I know I want to like do the daily life skills. I do remember the angst of that. Like, oh, my dad wanting so much to teach me about life, and it's like not fitting in the slats, the boxes I want it to. The gift of your king is to be both. I am, there are going to be the boundaries and expectations. And afterwards, uh, or at another time, sitting down with her and, hey, like, tell me more about that. And she can have on, this is stupid, and la, la, la. And that's, again, totally okay. It's you're giving her the muscles, the stamina to work into young womanhood, where a young woman needs to have connection to her emotions, but also needs to be connected to real world things get completed as well. And to me, that's the gold. To be held by a dad who can do both, to even hold you as a young little emerging feminine with all her storms, but also guiding her, also knowing like she's doing exactly what she's supposed to be doing right now. There's no shame in that. There's no guilt in that. You're really providing her a freedom of self and learning and skills that will just so support her as she goes into life.
Yeah, I hope we can get there. Right now, it's I went to go give her a hug the other day, and she pushed me away and goes, "Don't touch me," and I'm like, "Ugh, what? How did we get here?" You know what I mean? And it's like I don't know, but then
Yeah.
she'll 30 minutes later, we'll snuggle up next to me on the couch, and it's confusing, and I'm just like, "What is going on? Like, why are we? What's happening here?" I'm so confused.
Yeah, it sounds like standard feminine testing. If she feels one way one moment, and can you be okay with it and calm with it? And then she feels another way another moment, and can you roll with that? Do you have a specific question for either Cynthia or any of the guys at that point? Or another question?
No, no, no. Go, let somebody else go. You guys were great. That was really helpful. So
Sure. Well, so acknowledging what's going on, that you want to be an amazing dad and facing these challenges is completely normal, whether it's a girl, boy, whatever age. You did mention, I don't know if she's picking up something from her mom or, her mom's talking behind my back or something like this. That's a natural question that our brain creates. I've never found that to be fruitful to follow that path, right? So
I don't think
that
it's true. But that's yeah. I don't think she is. I don't think her mom's doing that. I would really be surprised if but you never know. I don't know. But
Right, right. That may be the case, and it's not something that you can control. And it sounds like, so does your daughter open with you when she is snuggling up with you? Does she eventually talk with you and open with you, things like that?
yeah, again, it just depends. Sometimes yes, sometimes no. Sometimes it's in the corner with her headphones on and just get away from me. And I understand that that's like that. Early teenage years stuff, and I'm just it's just weird. It's just like what?
Yeah, totally. It's a new challenge for us as a father, right?
As
New challenge
father,
for
yeah,
you.
it really is.
Yeah, good stuff. Good to see you.
Thank you.
Yeah, come on in. What's been your experience through this topic, being the best dad ever, even during marriage troubles?
Well, my daughter's she's 11, so she goes through those phases too. With where she or we say something that she doesn't like, she gets upset, right? And in that moment, she doesn't want to talk to anybody, right? Because she doesn't want to deal with those feelings of the parent telling her what to do or whatever the case might be. So she needs the space too to kind of like maybe just be alone for a few minutes, right? To process her feelings, right? And eventually she comes around, and she's back to normal, back to hugging, back to playing, you know. And when she's ready, make it available to her for her to feel safe to tell you if there's anything she wants to talk about, you know, without pushing, obviously, you know what I mean? At least that's what I try to do, not to push, like try to like ask her, like not digging too much on, just kind of like have a conversation with her. I saw that you were upset earlier, is there something which that you like to talk about? And if she says yes, and if she says no, then just kind of let it go, right? And let her make the decision if she wants to talk about it, you know. But tell her that it's okay, it's okay to feel how she feels sometimes, right? And obviously there are certain ways to go about it, right? It's okay to be upset, but if he gets upset and it becomes something where it's like said to her siblings and it gets physical, that's obviously not okay. So there's always got to be boundaries, right? Because you still got to be their parent, and little things like that. I was listening to a book which is I told last week, is the Untethered Soul, that helps a lot with this, right? With this, his mind going into all different directions and how to stop the thinking pretty much, because just like Jeff said, there's nothing you can do about it, right? So the more you think about it, the more it grows, right? That negative thinking.
Yeah, that's well said. It's so important what we focus our thinking on. Yeah. How do you make sure that you're a safe place for your kiddos, or how did you learn to be a safe place for your kiddos, like you were saying?
Lately, it's something that I'm growing on, because me growing up, my parents were never a place that I could go and talk to them. So it's something that I'm learning too. I still remember one time that I told something to my mom about my cousin that we were both doing, and my mom went straight to her sister and told her. So she pretty much told on me,
Oh.
Thanks,
and
Mom. Yeah.
yeah, and that since then I always remember that. I cannot trust her,
Oh,
right?
okay.
So if I have something, I cannot go to her for something, right? Because that's still there, that she's gonna go somewhere else and tell, right?
You remember
So,
that, huh?
oh yeah, I still remember that. So that trust is broken, right? And that's from like the time I was like, I don't know, 10, 12 years old, I think. Yeah. So yeah, back to the question. Right? So I've been learning, to like, especially with the book that I've been reading, it's like, whenever they do something or they come to me, it's like, don't come from a parent right away that I need to tell them what to do, right? If they need advice, hopefully they'll come and ask me for it, but kind of like listen from a kind of like a friendly or friend perspective and stay calm, not to react to what they're saying. Depends on what they're saying. So it's kind of stay neutral almost.
Yeah, centered in yourself at the very least. In the chat, the priority is to connect emotionally before anything else, right? Connect with them emotionally before anything else.
Yeah.
It's well said. I put the name of the book in the chat. It's also, you were mentioning The Untethered Soul by Michael Singer, right?
Yeah, is really good. That made me kind of like take a lot of stuff into perspective about myself and how to detach and how to pretty much work on yourself, right? Or these negative thoughts that go through, like kind of like almost like the monkey mind.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. So to me, it opened a lot of doors that that's where I want to like head towards.
Nice.
Yeah.
Fantastic. I love it. Thanks. Appreciate you
Yeah.
being here, man. Good to see you. Yeah, come on in. Thanks for raising your hand.
Yeah, hi everyone. Hi Jeff. Hi Cynthia. So I'm based in the UK. So my story, I've been brought in through a colleague that I'm on one of the men's groups with. My situation is after a marriage of 13 years, I had a separation with my wife. We're coming to the end of the divorce period. Just been in court. It's been quite a high conflict divorce, but I have two children, a boy of 13 and a girl of 10. And unfortunately, due to some sort of false accusations and stuff, and sort of mum looking to sort of alienate the children from me. I haven't had them with me because I've been living separately, as I guess a lot of this situation has come about. So it's been 6 months since I've actually been present with my children, but I have been reaching out to them on messaging and stuff up until sort of about 3 months ago. That my son was in contact with me, both on voice and chat, but I've had a period of about 3 months of nothing and just one-way conversation. So as a result of the child case that we had coming through, I don't have any direct contact, and the live with order from the court is with my spouse. So we've got that sort of signed off, as it were, by the judge. We've just also had the finance stuff done, so it's all quite heated, high level. Obviously, I'm appreciating the fact that there needs to be a bit of dust settling. But I just wanted to ask Cynthia, my son is very close to me. He sort of was the last one that was coming over, very open and honest about his feelings. We have a very, very good relationship. My daughter, who I love equally, is very much like her mum, and I think she's been a bit apprehensive about seeing me and spending time here. She did start off, but then decided she didn't want to come. So in light of where I am, it's going to be very much from the court order. The ball is in their park to reach out to me, to obviously reinitiate contact. And I'm looking for obviously some reunification, which one of these court bodies for the children will assist with. So I've got a 3-month period where that lady will engage with the children. I think I'll be writing to them to let them know how I feel, and the fact that I'm sorry that the divorce has happened and all that sort of stuff. But I just wanted to get an idea of how you think I should approach the initial engagement when it does happen, if it does happen. I'm trusting it will. And then going forward, at the moment, not having any live with arrangements, I'm going to be looking to get a property once the divorce is through, because at the moment I'm not able to do that. And I'm undecided whether I should be getting heavily involved with their lives, because I think my spouse is very against that at the moment still. It's very acrimonious and hostile still, which is a shame. But yeah, whether I should sort of get back involved readily or just take it very slow and let them come to me more. So that's really the question I have.
Gosh, I am so sorry. Journey must be such a ragged knife edge in your guts and your heart.
Yeah, it's just starting as well. So, I'm really working on myself and just trying to keep myself on the level. Been through the cycles throughout the whole 13-month separation and divorce. So I'm kind of back in it again. So I'm familiar with it, but it's really intense this time.
So I heard the question, well, how do I like re-engage? And there seemed to be the element of, do I reach out first or do they reach out first? Is that entirely choice right now? There's no governing expectation of what needs to happen?
There's nothing that's stopping me from reaching out to them, but obviously I want to be because they've stated that, they certainly don't want to see me, but I don't know whether that's their true feelings or whether it's a product of the situation and what their mum has been probably influencing them with as well. Again, I don't want to talk badly because these things are never a good situation for either party. But yeah, I've been a bit out of the loop, so it's hard for me to call that one. But right now, it's acceptance, radical acceptance, and what I obviously don't want it to turn into is disconnection and further distancing over time. Because it's really important. I want to be involved in my children's lives. Just throughout the marriage, we had some fractious agreements that generally my wife was quite unilateral. Happens to be that they attend a school in the UK where they're attending and speaking a different language to me even. So I've had that sort of um, to tackle with as well throughout their schooling to date. So it is very polarized. My wife's approach and views is very different from mine, but nonetheless, I still think being they're 50% me, I think they deserve to have an opportunity to sort of ask questions and understand my perspective on things.
What I feel called to is like, I want to be and say they need your king and they need your warrior. And they're going to have their own emotional, like, I don't want to talk to you, whatever it is. They're kind of like, we could say they're both in the feminine storm of it. But if I think about the impact that kingly warrior energy has long term, it's that you're continuously there saying, I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm here. It could be 3 years from now. I'm here and I'm present with you. And yeah, they may have questions for you, but really the whole energy is, I'm here, I'm present. I want to hear about your life.
Yeah.
And if I think about, let's say your daughter, let's say every year until she's like 24, she's like, I hate you. I don't want to talk to you. And then she hits 25 and all of a sudden her brain comes fully online. And it's like, God, my dad was always there. He was a consistent presence. He was always king and warrior. To me, there's nothing lost there and everything to be gained.
Yeah, thanks for that.
Absolutely, right. Values in our life, values are about the journey, how we handle the day to day. Values are not trying to cajole a particular outcome or be focused on an outcome. It's the journey along the way. And I think that was really well said. Being king for her all along the way, showing up, showing care regardless. Yeah. Good stuff. Thank you. Appreciate you being here. We have a few more minutes. Let's jump forward into a bit of research. As Cynthia and I teach, and we're talking about, again, level 3, deep intimacy, aware, conscious intimacy with a woman, with your children, there's only so many things that you can control. The virtuous triangle here, the Stoic triangle. One side is, what are my values, my boundaries, my wants? The Stoics called virtue. The other side is, what can I control and what can I not control? And the third side is responsibility. Am I taking action? Am I taking responsibility in an active way in my life with what I can control that flows from my virtue, from my values, from my boundaries? If you Google this, how to be a great dad during tough times, this is from the National Fatherhood Institute. 5 ways. Look at your children and encourage them, right? So give them your presence, give them your time, as we've been talking about, of course. Love on them first, as gentleman was saying in the chat. And as we talk about, the first thing is always to love on them, to care for them, to connect with them. Listen to them, see them as valuable, what they have to say, you care. Rituals and memories and seasonal holidays, for instance, build memories with them as best you can. Laughing with them, of course, being open to laugh no matter what's going on in your life, again, from the National Fatherhood Institute. By the way, if you want to check out more of our stuff, how to be on this call, go to our website and check that out. Being the best dad ever. So from Cynthia and I, number one, attune to your own emotions first. So breathe, relax your body, go slow. Showing up within your own self is so important. This is a book that I recommend to my clients. It's called Trauma Proofing Your Kids by Dr. Peter Levine. And so if you want to get into much more of the nitty gritty around somatic experiencing, parenthood, how to build resilient kids through difficult times, this is one of my favorite books, Trauma Proofing Your Kids by Peter Levine. A couple of paragraphs, he writes, the first step in attunement, which I was speaking about here, attuning to your own emotions first and attuning with your child. The first step in this attunement process is to understand the importance of experiencing both comfortable and uncomfortable sensations. So being okay whether things are going well or not well within yourself as a father, as a man, while learning to tolerate little by little and befriend each of them. So not to shun either of them, uncomfortable or comfortable sensations. This is essential in becoming resilient. This deeper experience of ourselves, often neglected, shapes our core being. It's from our own breath and belly that we form our sense of self and help our children to sense theirs. The importance of the adult's composure cannot be overemphasized. Being calm is essential. When a child has been hurt or frightened, it's normal for the adult to feel somewhat shocked and scared too. Because of your own fears and protective instincts, it's not uncommon to respond initially with fear and anger yourself. However, this can further frighten your child. The goal is to minimize, not compound, the feelings of fright, shame, embarrassment, guilt your child may be already experiencing. The best antidote is to tend to your own reactions first. Allow time for your own bodily responses to settle rather than scolding or running anxiously toward your child, unless she's in actual danger, of course. Experiences with our adult clients in therapy confirm that often the most frightening part of an incident experienced as a child was their parents' horror reaction. Children read the facial expression of their caregivers as a barometer of how serious the danger or injury is. So being composed in your own self and attuning to yourself first. And quickly, number two, love and connect with your child before anything else. As we were saying, don't try to discipline, don't try to do anything else before loving and connecting with them. And thirdly, build a vocabulary with your kiddo. Use stories that are age appropriate to talk about difficult subjects. Grab books that talk about these things. Sometimes they use animals or there's allegories that are appropriate to your child's age, right? And so it's easier for especially the younger kiddo to talk about stories, to talk about metaphors or animals or a certain vocabulary that you have. So build that with them. Read them stories about difficult subjects that you pick, that you, of course, peruse through first, and keep an open communication like we were talking about. Yeah, man in the chat, is there another book that I'd like? The Untethered Soul? That's a good question. The one that I recommended there, Trauma Proofing Your Kids by Peter Levine, is the first that I'd recommend. I can put some others in the chat or in our group calls if you want to ask there too. We could talk about that specifically. So that's our time for today. Cynthia, what would you leave us with? What are you seeing with these men, their care, their desire to be the best dad ever, no matter what's going on? What would you leave us with today?
I'm deeply touched by the heart and the masculinity that I get to feel in you as you talk about fatherhood. And I fully feel that your children, your daughters and your sons have won the jackpot on getting to have you as dads. And I really love the last point here of building a vocabulary with your kiddos and especially young kids. Even I would offer with a young budding woman, even finding a vocabulary with her, even if it's around like stormy weather. Oh, it was a stormy day today, huh? Or there's a lot of, I can feel there was a lot of rain today. And she might think that's crazy, but I feel like they can have the same metaphoric power as even we might offer with younger kids. And again, that this comes from you as dads, it just blows my heart open. And I'm so grateful that they get to have you and get to merge into life having had you.
Thanks, Cynthia. Thanks, guys. See you next time.